there is definitely something to catch. The 39 kilo cruiser, there is a shark fest of note. Name your species and you are going to get it. Hello and welcome to this week's Angler News KZN Fishing Report. And guys, it has been a very eventful week. We have had fish all over the coastline. It has been absolutely fantastic, no matter what facet you are fishing on. So whether you are fishing rock and surf, bass, offshore, there is certainly rods to be bent, and that is from Hazelmere to Midmar, from North Coast to the South Coast. There is definitely something to catch. Now, we're going to get into all of this in great detail, but before we do, I want to give a big shout out to our guys that are fishing the SA Surf Casting Championships on this weekend. Yours truly will be covering the entire event, and you can get the full footage on this channel, so make sure to hit that subscribe and notification bell so you know when I publish this news. Now, let's get into this week's show. Starting off down the South Coast. Guys, it is a shark fest of note. The entire week, my reporter Adam has been telling me that there is just sharks, sharks, and sharks. I mean, let's start off by checking out this massive hammerhead caught off Margate Pier. And apart from that, there's just grays, there are duckbills, there are blue skates, there are hound sharks. Guys, it is shark season of note. That's all Adam has been going on about until this afternoon, where Stumpy has come through with these pretty cool looking Garrick. Guys, 2 Garrick off Margate Pier today. And apart from that Garrick, Stumpy did manage to get a couple bream, but the edibles are pretty slow at the moment. In fact, according to Adam, it's only been 10% of what has been coming out. It's just been inedible action throughout the entire week.
Good day, Vinesh and guys. So it's Wednesday evening here at Chivonga Pier. A couple of guys fishing there. We've got orange rocks further down on the point there, right on the end. There's not much happening down that side. Coming into Chivonga Lagoon, on the left hand side here. So it doesn't look like too much activity at the moment, but a couple of guys giving it their best. Conditions don't seem too bad. The water's a bit on the low side, but that's okay. Otherwise, I hope we're all going to have an awesome upcoming weekend.
Now, let's move on down to Warner Beach, where Gary earlier on this week has reported that there has been Gary coming out on virtually a daily basis. I can verify this because there were other reports of this as well. There's also been shad on the bite, some nice size shad, but that's in the mornings and in the afternoons. Now, moving on into Durban. Guys, Durban is edible action. So like we said, South Coast, inedibles, Durban, moving on to Durban. It is full-on edible action. So the fish that are coming out of Durban are your shad, your bronze bream, your pompano. There has been some Gary coming out. Those reports were 1 or 2 coming out of Blue Lagoon earlier on this week. If you are fishing the harbor, well, Grunter is on the bite again. And these are normal small Grunter. These are some good quality Grunter that's been on the bite. And apart from that, the guys are getting the odd kingfish on artificial lure. And if you're looking for that offshore action, well, Kuta is still very much on the bite, but we have got Brad to give you this week's report of what's been going on from the skiboat side.
Yeah, good morning, guys. Yeah, it's Brad from Linsky Fishing Charters. We're sitting out here just off the Virginia Beach area, looking for a couple of snookies. We've managed to get one, but they're eating very, very skittishly today. Yeah, so we're sitting out, sea lovely and flat, light northeaster blowing. Yeah, so guys, we'll keep you informed with some more information later on, but at the moment I say off here by the Virginia area. There are a couple of snook around. So guys, sidelines, speak to you later.
Thank you, Brad. So, guys, that is our offshore report. Now, before we move on to the North Coast, while we are still in Durban and surrounding areas, just to touch again about our SA Surf Casting Championship that's going on. It is a fantastic event. I didn't know much about it. I mean, I knew a bit about it, but not the detail that I know about it right now. And we are going to be giving you the full rundown of this as we cover the event. But the opening ceremony happened on Wednesday evening, and yours truly was there. We covered it. We had a good chat with the anglers, so we know there's going to be some good results coming out of that area. And on Saturday afternoon, if you are watching the show before that, guys, come down, have a chat, have a listen, and see who is going to be representing South Africa in Spain next year. This is definitely a facet you really want to look into. So guys, that rounds off Durban and South Coast. Moving on up to the North Coast of KZN, Ballito. Guys, it hasn't been good on the rock and surf side. In fact, it's been pretty quiet this week. Our reporter Jesse didn't have too much to report on. He's really tried. I promise you, he has had his ears on the ground. And apart from the odd shad, and guys, bear in mind that shad that has been coming out has all been on artificial lure, and the shoals has been moving around very quickly. So, according to the report, once you get that shad, while you're baiting up, before you could even get to your next shad, you'll be lucky if you get another one. Because according to what we've heard, guys are getting just one shad a day in the area. Now, that's on your rock and surf side. Apart from that, a few bream, a few of the other bream species, really not much to write home about. Offshore, on your Ballito side, now that's where the fireworks are going on. There are still kuta, there are still snook, there are tuna on the bite. Guys are getting tuna that have launched out of Westbrook. And if you're in the North Coast and you're feeling a bit pessimistic about going out fishing this weekend, well, guys, go and try your hand at Hazelmere. The bass are still on the bite. There's been some pretty decent ones. I know for a fact that there's a lot of small ones in between, but there has been some decent ones, and we've probably got about 2 weeks before the water really cools down, and this fishing is going to become a lot more slower. So while we still got some top water action, make sure to take advantage of that. Now, that is Ballito and the surrounding areas. Moving on to Mtunzini Banks. Guys, Nick has come through with a report. Lots of excitement out at Mtunzini because of the 39-kilo kuta. Now, throughout the entire week, we know there has been a lot of small kuta. We're getting a lot of reports of kuta and, nothing big. But this, 39.5 kilos, it took 2 guys to hold this fish. I mean, that is an absolute beauty of a kuta. So we do know that around this time of the year, Mtunzini tends to get the bigger ones, and the record in the area is 44 kilos. That happened quite a few years ago. So this is right up that alley. So yeah, kudos to the angler that got that fish. Now on your rock and surf side at Mtunzini, there has been a bit of carp, there has been a bit of shad, but not real fireworks. The river as well, a mixed bag of species that has been coming out. However, the weather is looking fantastic for the weekend, so Mtunzini is certainly an area you might want to go and try out. Now, rounding off in Richards Bay, guys, we've got Ellie, and Ellie has come through with a report. We're going to play it out for you. Listen to what she had to say and check out this girl's angling skills.
Morning, Mandesh. I hope you're well. Fishing this past week have been really good, especially for deep sea anglers. Anglers have been catching plenty of GTs and kingfish, as well as some tunas and kuta. In our harbour, anglers have been catching some salmons, as well as some kingfish. But anglers also got a few bites of carrick, but nothing have been landed. But yeah, that's all for now. Thanks, guys, and tight lines.
Thank you, Ali. Great stuff over there, my friend. Well done to you. We can't wait to see what you come out with next week. Now, guys, the freshwater scene. Guys, in the Midlands, it is fantastic at the moment, and it is fantastic on all fronts. Now, before we get into the freshwater scene of the Midlands, what we need to remind you is that, as we did last week, river season is closed until the 1st of September. However, the Stillwater is still producing the goods, and check out some of this footage coming out of the Camberg Festival that happened over this past week. Guys, lots of good trout coming out, some going over the 60-centimeter mark. So, well done to the anglers that fished that. Some did have a bit of a tough time, one of them being my friend Jan, but when that barometer dropped, he definitely got into the fish. Apart from that, there has been some good carp action at Albert Falls. Speaking of carp, there was a 10-kilo carp caught on fly. That was a 1 hour fight. None of these images that I'm playing out right now. And then if you are looking for that bass action, Albert Falls is still producing the goods. Some decent bass coming out of Albert Falls, and Minba is still bending rods on all facets. So, guys, that rounds off our KZN report for this week. It is looking fantastic all over the entire coastline. Like I said, there is a shark fest of note happening down the south coast. Who thought inedible season is over? Well, I can be guilty of that. I did as well until Adam's report this week. Apart from that, there are shad, there are garrick, there are cob, there are bass, there are carp, there are trout. Name your species and you are going to get it. KZN is looking fantastic for this weekend, so make sure you get out there and get that fish. Please feel free to send us the footage. We will be more than happy to play it out on the show. And so that's it for this week, but please make sure to have a look at that footage that's coming out of the SA Surf Casting Championships. That will be published over the next couple of days on this channel. So make sure you hit that subscribe and notification bell. And like we said, the shad are moving fast. They are here. The shoals are moving fast. So you want to try and get them on spoon. So check out our video on our top 5 spoons for the season. Guys, thank you for joining us on the show. I am Vinesh Sugrim for Angler News South Africa. And always remember, keep your fishing area tidy, respect your bag limits, and fish for the future.